Astrology by Celeste. Yes, it is on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. I'm so excited. I'm going to be having a conversation with Kay Taylor, but she'll be here in a little bit, so I'm just going to talk until she gets here. Hey, Manifester from Toronto, and Denise and Ruthie and everyone. Hey, Grace and Jess. Yes, welcome, welcome. How is everyone doing today? Hi, Astrology by Moonlight. Thank you for the flowers. I love flowers. I love getting flowers as a gift. Absolutely. Yeah, so these, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good. I'm just going to be good. Yeah, I'm just going to be good. Okay. Let's see what's going on today astrologically. There's some big things going on. Let's see, what is the word of the day? The word of the day is contentious. So, I haven't been watching the news or anything, but I know there is a lot. It's probably very loud about talking about all of these tariffs and whatnot. Oh, I don't have to do this anymore. Hey, Kay, I see you there. Here we go. Today. Debo was a little contentious with me on our walk but that's every day. It's nothing new. Hi, Kay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm here. Yeah. And both of us with a kitchen background, I see.
Yes. It's so good to see you.
It's great to see you too. And as I said to you earlier, I'm out of town and I don't have my normal little phone holder. So I'm going to do my best to hold this and not move around too much. But yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so we have Denise, our amazing publisher. Is that the right term for the Open Magazine? Or editor is the right term?
Yes, Denise is the senior editor.
Okay. Hi, Denise. Yeah. So, in case anyone doesn't know you, how could they not? But why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay. Well, I have been an astrologer and clairvoyant channel teacher, hypnotherapist for like decades, and I'm president of OPA. I'm president of UAC 2026. That's where I've just come from. We're working now on speaker selection. I'm on the board of Kepler and faculty of Kepler, and basically just all around busy person that people uh, are connected to. So I'm really glad to see everybody here today. Definitely with OPA, we provide amazing levels of presentations, conferences, retreats, and we've got the new um, oh, I'm just going in different directions. I'm sorry. I'm
That's
coming.
okay. AstroBiz. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Astro-Biz. Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
I want people listening. Do you mind if I ask you a question
Yeah, go ahead.
before we? Yeah, tell people where you think all of your energy comes from for to doing I think I know the answer, but managing all of these things in your chart, like what would you say? Don't you have Mars out of bounds or something like that?
No, no. What I have is I have a grand trine in fire
Mm.
that goes to the ascendant. So I have ascendant in Venus in Aries, Pluto in Leo in the fifth house, and Mars in Sagittarius in the ninth house ruling the chart. And I also have a loose grand trine in water, and that's pretty much it. There's no earth other than background earth, not real personal air either. But in terms of the grand trine in fire, it's an endless amount of enthusiasm and energy. And I don't get tired very much, honestly. I can really burn the candle at both ends, and people have warned me about that for a long time. But when I know I need to take a break, I take a break.
Mhm.
And my break is usually something to do with water, coming to the water trine and soaking, even taking a bath or going someplace where there's water.
Yeah, you love to swim.
I do.
Mhm.
I love to swim, soak, and yeah, just do self-care. Like, so my life is either working or self-care. There's not a lot of other things in life that interest me a lot.
That always amazes me, people who can work endlessly and be productive and enthusiastic about it and keep going and keep going. It's just, yeah, I wish I could take a little bit of your fire. All I have is my little Aries moon trying to power everything and then all this earth and air. So I love it. Yeah. So today, well, I want to talk about Neptune and Aries and any wisdom you want to share before we get into the summit.
Okay. Yeah.
Any
Well,
thoughts about what you're seeing or anything?
I feel like what we're going to see now is a lot more direct action, individually and globally. When I've gone back to look at what happened in the 1800s when Neptune was in Pisces and went into Aries, we see a lot of the same things, same topics. It's amazing how history repeats itself. When Neptune was in Pisces, this was when it was decided that slavery was a bad thing, that women should have rights, that workers should have rights. There was a lot of imagination energy, a lot of creativity. There were ideas about communal lifestyles and what that would be like. So there was all these really great ideas that happened. But then, of course, you get into the fact that not everybody agrees with that. And that's when Neptune goes into Aries. You either get a pitched battle like the Civil War, or you get things just moving forward, because if people do agree, then the new pioneering launching energy just happens, and there's no doubt about it. In our personal lives, I feel with Neptune in Pisces for all these years, there's been this great download of spiritual, intuitive, imaginal energy. It's been kind of amazing. And also with that much Neptune in Pisces, we have a lot of confusion and lies and manipulation. It's hard to tell what's true, what's not true. Fake news got really invented during this time at a deep level. So now I feel like the rose-colored glass shades are going to be taken off, and people are starting to see already very quickly truth that they didn't see before. And on an individual level, where you've been maybe feeling foggy and confused, intuitive, but not able to make a clear decision, now is the time that you're going to feel like you can move forward. And Aries moves forward with gut level instinctual intuition. Pisces is very psychic for sure, but it's not, it's more energetic in the way that it comes through. Maybe it's talking with spirit guides. With Aries, it's deep intense from your gut, what to do and what not to do.
I love that. Yeah, I wrote a post about it called Pop the Balloon,
Uh,
where people start, and I've already started feeling this, like really start seeing some things you never saw before really clearly and be like, oh my God, how
mhm.
did that not come to my, because Aries rules the eyes and ears because it rules the whole head. And I feel like people will start believing Neptune's about belief systems, their eyes and their ears. And it's so interesting with this whole tariff thing. Uh, watching the spin, my podcast this week, so the Celestial Insights podcast is called The Spin Zone.
Uh,
So we're seeing all this spin and spin about how tariffs are good for you, even though everybody knows that they're a tax and that the consumer pays for them. So it's really interesting. It's like all the propaganda is it's going to wear off because
mhm.
reality is hitting.
Yes, yes. And then
As
it's
that Saturn comes over Neptune's territory.
mhm,
Saturn's in
mhm.
Pisces now, heading for Aries. It's really going to get real when Saturn gets to Aries.
Yeah, yeah, that's also what I was just going to say. Is Saturn coming into Aries will give us a lot of support and help to actually, make some structural changes that make sense for the long term, and not still be floating around in all this Pisces confusion. It's been really overwhelming for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So hopefully some people are who had been like really depressed or
Mhm.
lost in confusion. Do you think Neptune and Saturn and Aries will help
Yeah,
get
it'll
some
help. I mean, it's not going to be easy. And someone's asking, when does Saturn get into Aries? It's, I think, the 27th of May. So just a couple of months away now.
It'll be here before we
Yeah,
know
yeah.
it.
Neptune went into Aries on the 30th of April.
Yes. May 24th,
Oh,
Saturn moves into
24th.
Aries.
Okay.
And then Mercury moves into Gemini on May 25th. So Mercury will be at 29 Taurus when Saturn moves into Aries. So I think there'll be something financial related that going on around that time. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Really, really interesting times to be.
Yeah. And it is overwhelming. I mean, I think we have to honor the fact that a lot of people don't know what to do, don't know how to be part of the change that they want to see in the world. And, there's just a lot of overwhelm and confusion. Getting more clarity in these upcoming months. And I think we have to realize that on a soul level, we all chose to be here. And sometimes that can feel uncertain, right? It's like it doesn't seem like you wanted to be here for this, but yeah, we're here to bring about positive change in the world. And I often say that in some ways, most of us want to have the same things, right? We want to have a decent living, take care of our families, explore our lives, our creativity, but we have very different ideas on how to accomplish that. And it's been really difficult in these last decades because the amount of fake news, fake ideas, brainwashing that's going on. And, and I'll say that just, it's not just politics, it's everywhere. And it's very hard to know exactly what's true. And I'm hoping that this movement into Aries and also Pluto in Aquarius is going to be trine to Uranus in Gemini. This tends to indicate that we're going to have more clarity, less kind of foggy water, more intellectual thinking, discernment, figuring things out. Hopefully, the truth will emerge during this time period.
Mm, I'm hoping so, and hoping it's going to be for the better,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, it's going to be a hard time especially with the earthy manifest stuff breaking down as Uranus goes through those last degrees of Taurus, an Earth sign. And yeah, monetary things changing so much with all of these tariffs and everything. It's gonna be difficult, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I'm gonna hold on to optimism and hope that
Mm-hmm.
once we get through this difficult dark period, things will have the ability to be better as people, all of us, myself included, start pulling down the scales off our eyes and seeing things how they really, in new ways, and how they really are, rather than how we've imagined them to be
Mm-hmm.
in our mind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yes, what was I was just going to say there for a moment? I was noticing something. Um, I lost my train.
Y'all hear there's a great comment. Astrology by Moonlight said that it's helpful to remember we're in a 9 year, a year of completion. And 2026 will be a 1 year, new beginnings and rebuilding. The person looks at it as a cosmic winter. Absolutely. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really true. And that's, 2026 is when we see the exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune. That's also in the summer in July when there's a big lineup of planets at 4 degrees. That's like a major cosmic shift. So this year to me, yeah, feels like we're in a bridge stage. We're letting go of the old, we're building the new. Oh, I know what I wanted to say is that if we go back, if you remember 2008, 2009, when Pluto came into Capricorn and like the world fell apart, right? It was terrifying. All these banks failing, all these foreclosures, and it seemed like the world was over. And yet, within a couple of years, we started to get our bearings and think about all things Capricorn and maybe what we needed to change. We can also remember back, if we're old enough, to when Pluto went into Scorpio around 1982, and gay men were dying all over the place. Nobody knew what it was, and then we found out it was HIV, and that was disastrous. No treatment, no real understanding of it at first, lots of death and destruction. And yet over time we started to understand more about what's going on, and begin to develop treatments. um, the thing that I've been really thinking about is that all of these Pluto time periods, these Pluto cycles, we make some major progress, but in some ways we don't seem to completely, perfect anything, right? We're still dealing with the Capricorn nonsense of the chaos and the corruption that goes on in government and big business. We're still dealing with the fallout around sexuality and disease, and understanding life in a deeper way. So Pluto takes us on a deep tour of the shadow material of whatever subject it's covering. But Pluto doesn't go away, and we're always still working on these unconscious patterns.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now we're seeing Pluto in Aquarius, the sign of the collective, and the fight against, and with that combination with Saturn and Pisces, where there's this like lack of empathy and lack of humanity in some ways,
Mm-hmm.
and people undergoing mass shifts. It's been really, really somewhat, somewhat especially difficult the last couple of years, seeing, masses of people being,
Mm-hmm.
terrorized in different areas of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And when we think about Pluto and Aquarius, we know that we're uncovering some of the challenging issues around
Oh
technology,
yeah.
AI, whether we really are equal in any way, or like what humanity needs. And there's meant to be a progressive movement forward. But the shadow side of Aquarius is authoritarianism,
Mm-hmm.
dictatorship, lack of empathy. Those are some of the qualities that we're seeing emerging intensely all over the world at this point in time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And but Jupiter's coming into Cancer soon, June 8th. What do you think of that? That I'm holding on to that will be somewhat of a bright spot coming in soon.
Yeah, we can hope that that brings us a little bit more into the heart. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's something to be looking forward to when everything gets out of. But that right now is just a hard time. There's no way to sugarcoat it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can, but it's a hard time. We've got uh, Jupiter in detriment. Venus is retrograde and is riding with Saturn for like the next several weeks because of her retrograde cycle. She passes Saturn. She
Mm-hmm.
meets Saturn on the 7th. It goes back, and on the 12th, she stations and goes direct in Pisces, and then comes back to Saturn, I think on the 26th or 24th or 26th, right around that, before she goes. So the next several weeks have this Saturnian blanket
Yeah.
over Venusian things. So the benefics are in a difficult situation. So it's just, but this too shall pass, I think. And
Yeah.
what are some benefits do you think of the Venus Saturn conjunction
Well,
about
Venus
figuring out?
helps
Mhm.
us see what we want to commit to around
Yeah.
our relationships and our financial plans. It can help us get grounded and set boundaries where we need to set them.
Hmm. And what a beautiful time for the AstroBiz
It
conference that will be, yeah, so people may be taking a look at their businesses. And yeah, why don't you tell us about the Organization of Professional Astrology's AstroBiz conference, all the details.
Okay. So the Organization for Professional Astrology, which is OPA, has been around for, gosh, 25 years now. And our focus is bringing professionalism, high standards, quality to astrology. We're not just for professional astrologers, but there's always been a niche that we have, which is to support professional astrologers in what they do. And our signature program is the peer groups, where 4 astrologers meet with a leader and go over challenging issues, how we do our readings, and business planning. So anybody who's in the OPA certification program or has been certified has gone through this process 3 times, has gone through consulting skills, knows astronomy, and is capable of building a business plan, branding, marketing, knowing all these things, and working from that plan. Because the truth is, most of us, when we started astrology, we just started reading, right? We started reading books, maybe taking classes, these days seeing things online, and then friends start to come to us, and then maybe we get some paying clients. It's it's not like many other professions where you go to college and you get a degree. Now, in the last few decades, that is more and more true. We have Kepler College, where you can get very excellent education. There are some other major astrology schools around the world that have very deep academic training. So that is available to us now. But what OPA tends to focus on is what some people call like finishing school, is that even if you got a great degree in astrology, or you studied with a master and you really know what you're doing with the astrology, not many people teach how to actually do a consultation in a good way. So our consulting skills program is excellent and teaches that. What about all the other skills you need to be a professional astrologer? Public speaking, writing, branding, marketing, advertising. I mean, every there's like 10 careers that are built into being an astrologer. So going back, I'm trying to remember the first one we did. We did 2 in-person retreat conferences, which we called Astrologer. One was, I think, 2018 or so. The other one was 2022. And we had competitions for like most promising astrologer and research and all sorts of things like that. But we also had a number of speakers. And one of the things we're doing in doing AstroBiz virtual conference this year is we have created a great playlist of some of the best talks that were given in those 2 conferences, and those will be available to all participants of this virtual conference for 6 months. And then the virtual conference is a 3-day weekend, April 25th to the 27th. And we have a lot of great speakers. We've got some new speakers that haven't spoken for OPA before. And we will go through just some of the key points, and especially bringing things up to date. For instance, AI is much more of a player potentially in astrology at this point in time than it's ever been before. Substack is another one. We've got Louise Eddington here to talk to us about writing for Substack, which she does. We've got some people who have gone through the Kepler Astrologers Toastmasters program and are fabulous speakers talking about speaking skills. So this is a way to come and meet with very successful, hardworking astrologers who have expertise in particular areas. One of the people that I asked to be part of this is Wade Caves, and I asked him to do a talk on emails, writing emails for your clients, because I've noticed that when I get his emails, they're incredibly long a lot of the times. And, classic wisdom would tell you that your email should be short and sweet. But his long emails are so interesting that you make the time to read them and you get a lot out of it. So his teaching schedule didn't allow him to be live on the conference, but he will be creating a recording on emails and how he comes up with his high quality emails for his clients. So yeah, it will be a great time to come together and listening live. You'll be able to ask questions and participate. And if not, if you're not able to make the whole thing live, again, the recordings will be available for 6 months.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And where do people go to sign up for this?
OPA Astrology, OPAastrology.org is the email, or the Mercury retrograde. I'm going to.
It's this Mercury and Venus retrograde is taking me out.
Oh
So
gosh, it's crazy.
it's the website, opastrology.org, right?
OPAastrology.org. It's called the Astro-Biz Conference. And we're still in the early bird pricing, which is only $89 if you're an OPA member, $109 if you are not a member. And that goes until the 11th. So you still have a few more days to get in with that earlier pricing. It's really, really well worth it. This isn't available. This kind of material, these kind of talks are not available anywhere else that I know of.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward
Mm.
to it. So you can consider, if you're not a member of OPA, really consider joining it because it's just such a amazing organization. And I host the Transit Talk every Sunday. That is first Sunday, excuse me. Every first Sunday of the month, which is a study group where we talk about world events and things like that and what's going to be coming up and what already happened and blah, blah, blah. But it's very engaging and people can share. And sometimes people want to present things of their own work. So it's really, and I don't think there's anything like that in any of the other orgs that I'm aware of. So that's something unique to us in addition to the speaking topics and whatnot.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we have a lecture or some kind of group presentation almost every week. And again, once you have participated in that, or if you're not able to make it, you can connect to it via the recordings. I wanted to mention a couple of the talks that are coming up. So, in the AstroBiz conference, we have, for instance, Leslie Tagorda, who's going to be talking about connecting with your soul customer and fans using astrology. So really looking at your chart to know who your people are instead of, this is the gift that we have in astrology, that we could find that out. Our senior editor for our Evolving Astrologer magazine, Denise Hancock, is going to be talking about writing for the digital reader. It's different. It's not necessarily the writing that you once learned, maybe the more academic writing, although we have Arlen Wise who's talking about that, just, basic writing skills for astrologers. Frank Clifford is going to do a 2-hour presentation for us on 9 steps to successful consulting as an astrologer. He's a well-known astrologer. He's got great tips and techniques. Jen Braun is going to talk about making audio magic using podcasting basics. Podcasting is, takes some finesse to really get it going in a good way.
And she's my podcast, the Celestial Insights podcast producer, and she is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Ebony Bledsoe is going to be talking about intuitive branding. No.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Yeah. Dabney Lawless is talking about how to build a YouTube channel, right? She's been working hard on her YouTube channel, has a lot of tips. So
her YouTube channel is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So altogether, how many do we have? I think we've got something like 17 or 21 speakers. It's a good number of speakers, a lot of different topics. It will be, every day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, starting at 9 o'clock Pacific, going to around 2, 3 in the afternoon. But again, if you don't have all the free time, the recordings will be available.
Mm-hmm. And isn't there a bonus that you get? Don't you get
all those
recordings from an old
recordings from the other 2 business conferences that we did, the astrologer conference retreats that we did in the last couple of years? Yes, so there'll be other things there, like Roy Gillett did a great talk on using solar fire. In fact, there were several talks on using the different apps. So any of the talks that were evergreen, those are the ones that you get available just for signing up, and you can listen to all those recordings. The recordings that we're having live are many of them like newer material, what's up to date right now. For instance, a few years ago, Substack didn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that. Okay. Oh, there's some questions here, but before we get to the questions, anything else you want to share about AstroBiz to
No,
with
no.
people? I think you did a great job telling
I
people.
encourage people to go ahead and register. Open membership is only $80 a year. You get all these talks every single week. Great astrologers, Celeste transit talk. We get the OPA Live panel discussion every quarter. You get the magazine. I mean, so many great offerings. So think about joining OPA, but even if you don't want to, this is a very accessible conference.
Yes. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. So Belize said the energy is so dense today. What is going on? So I think it's like maybe Belize, you're just still adjusting to the shift of Neptune into Aries. Could
Well, I
be.
think it's also the sextile trine we have right now,
Oh
which is
yeah.
up to exactness around the 5th, but it's all week long. And it's Saturn and a trine to Mars, and each of them sextiling to Uranus. And that's very intense energy. You can use it, I would say, for breaking through whatever it is stuck for you and that you're trying to build, because Saturn builds for the long term, Mars forges ahead with a lot of energy, and Uranus can break us through where we're stuck. But it's hard energy to manage at the same time. It does feel a little bit overwhelming, and that is a major condition of the sky all week long.
And I'm calling it the Bermuda Triangle. Now, Cory Booker used the Senator Cory Booker, and I did a video on my YouTube channel about him on the live page. So he talked for 25 hours and did a filibuster on the Senate floor, and he used that to Mars, power through all of the difficulty, Mars and Cancer. So it came from internal and do this extreme thing. Mars is in fall. So he did this extreme thing, putting his body through all of this stress. And Saturn sustained him. And the Uranus, he broke Strom Thurmond's record. So that is a real world example of using the Bermuda Triangle to help yourself like get through hard things. But Venus is going to enter into that thing when Venus is going to first trine Mars and then conjunct Saturn. So she's going to trine Mars on Sunday and then conjunct Saturn on Monday. And so she'll be in that thing. So
Mhm.
just be mindful. The people you love and care for, it's not a good time to be saying something under your breath. You could be sent into the Bermuda Triangle. People who don't know what it was, it's some area somewhere in the Caribbean, I
Mhm.
think, where planes go missing. So, ooh, and Mercury goes direct on Monday.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, but yeah, that's really heavy. And then Golden Ram was a little surprised about the dark side of Aquarius being a totalitarianism. That's Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto controlled to the people or over the people is how I like to think about that.
Well, I
Yeah,
would
but
say even Aquarius,
Aquarius,
and this is something that not everybody
yeah.
realizes. Even just the sign of Aquarius can relate to more conservative politics. We tend to think of it as progressive and humanitarian. We're all going to be free and equal, and that is the highest frequency of it. But the shadow side is something that's overly conservative and again non-empathic, cold, sterile. Some of the earliest communist regimes would, very much like all people are equal, and that means, nobody gets any freedom. So it's like freedom and not freedom, kind of like Sagittarius is unbounded hopefulness and then hopelessness. Or Pisces is creation and destruction. So, a lot of times, like what I've noticed for myself is in doing talks over the last few years, getting ready for Pluto and Aquarius and the Saturn, Jupiter and Aquarius, I would talk about the progress and I would think about the progress, and I was all excited about how we were going to make big changes. And I would mention the dictatorship or the authoritarian, or the fact that it's possible for people to be dissociated from feeling with Aquarius. I'd mention it, but I wasn't really thinking about what it would be like to live in it. I didn't have a concept that we would experience as much of this backlash to progress that we're experiencing in this country and around the world.
Yeah.
I also have to say there are people who think what's going on right now in America is progress, right? We have to allow that this is a particular viewpoint of progress that we don't all share, but in the end we're going to have to find a way to you know I'm trying to be non-political here. I don't want to be political, but I think that being compassionate, being a conscious, caring person is beyond politics, and we have to find our way to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Just the Aquarius, it's like the group can get into such a common think. Group think is a real
Mm-hmm.
thing, a real problem when everybody, it almost led the United States to in the Cuban Missile Crisis to,
Mm-hmm.
it was like that mutual annihilated destruction.
Yeah.
Or what is it called? Mutually guaranteed destruction?
Yes.
Yeah, we got so close. Yeah. And that was, I believe Saturn was in Aquarius back then. I'd have to look at the chart again though.
Mm-hmm.
Conjunct the South Node. Let's see. Belize is asking, what element is La King so I can summon it? Hmm? What element? Oh, what element is lacking in the sky? Hmm. I think we have fire, earth, air. Well, we got them all right now in the sky, but there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. There's a stellium of water with all of the Pisces energy, Saturn, Mercury retrograde, and Venus retrograde in the North Node there.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the
Yeah.
South Node and Uranus and Earth, so maybe pull in some Earth.
Yeah. Manifestor 125, us Canadians have a different view. I'm Canadian. What is the different view? Different view from what? I'm curious about that.
Oh yeah, please, if you write in the chat, manifester. Oh, good. Astrology by Moonlight, second year as an OPA member, and it's wonderful and highly recommends it. Thank you for the comment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Golden Ram 31. Yeah.
Americans tanking
Mhm.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, setting the stage for the populace to fight back. I mean, absolutely. I
Hmm.
mean, I do not feel we would be in this place we're in politically here and around the world if it wasn't meant to be what launches this Aquarian progressive energy that there is, and just as there was in the 1860s, right? That there was compassion and care and the vision that slavery should not exist, and then people fought for it because it was still there.
Ah. Hmm.
America's tanking themselves. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But the thing that we have in this particular country is the Congress and the Senate normally are sort of check and balance, but that stop all of these orders that are coming through. So it seems like it's a little bit of a slow progress, and like it's not happening, but there is the backlash.
Yeah, actually, the Senate voted to take away the state of emergency that allowed the tariffs on Canada. That was
Mm-hmm.
the first time yesterday. So we'll see if the House brings it to the floor. But they're starting people calling their senators, going to these town halls, or it's making a difference. That it's just that the people in Congress need to be more afraid of their constituents than they are of their
Mm-hmm.
who's in the executive chair.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just basically how we're seeing it. We're seeing all of these cycles from the past. It feels like time is like folding in on itself, and it's incredible. Like we feels like we're in the 1930s with a Uranus and Taurus back then, violating land boundaries and going into other people's countries, and
Mm-hmm.
Neptune and Aries back at the Civil War, and Pluto and Aquarius, the revolutionary times where the French Revolution and whatnot. So it's like really incredible the time that we're experiencing all at once. See,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
mm-hmm.
remember, everything goes in cycles. Everything is
Yes.
spiraling around all the time, and we're just in a new frequency. But a lot of the, age-old issues.
Mm-hmm. The more that changes, the more that stays the same. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, astrology is beautiful to help us understand the timing and what is going on right now, and be able to, you know, at least get some understanding of what's happening. And we can see that things are shifting, things are changing, things are more and more is coming. That's going to, you know, there's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a next episode. So this is not the way it is going to be forever,
Mm-hmm.
but it's certainly eye-opening, that's for sure. Hmm. Ah. Any other wisdom you want to share about anything, Kay, before we go?
Mm-hmm. I would just want to remind people on the more metaphysical, energetic level that our thoughts, our words, and our actions create our reality. So even in a situation that we're in, as we are right now, where a lot of people are overwhelmed and sometimes it does look really hopeless, that marshaling our inner resources, working with our spiritual practices to stay grounded and centered, to be open hearted, uh, to trust the process that we're in, but take the actions that each one of us can take. Again, as I said in the beginning, we all chose here on a soul level to be here. And that tells me that we have our gifts to give and we want to be part of change. And on a soul level, souls are all love and souls are pure creation. And if we find ourselves getting off track and feeling, depressed and miserable, which of course is understandable with everything we're dealing with, we need to double down on the spiritual process. Saturn is still in Pisces, helping us do that. And we need to connect with each other. This is the beauty of the Aquarian energy, is that we are connected to our soul groups and we support each other and encourage each other and just do what we can through this period of time.
I love that. I'm going to pull some cards for us all to help with this. Yeah, Jupiter and Gemini really is
Mm-hmm.
connecting with others and talking can be so healing. Yeah, it's not just
Mm-hmm.
too much information. It's also this like coming together in conversation can be really healing. Okay. So, mm, yeah, I pulled three cards. So from the
Okay.
wisdom of the sacred bee, and I feel like it's really in line with the energy right now. The first card is anguish. And you brought
Mm,
that up. One of the first things you talked about is how so many people are feeling themes of anguish. And then let me just read that, just in case for some wisdom that for people. Ah, being, yeah, be, mental anguish is intense anxiety to the degree that physiological symptoms begin to appear. The anxiety is so intense that our cognitive functions can be, can be impaired. So the wisdom is being entrenched in high expectations that are not met can lead to disappointment. When discouraging thoughts become disproportionate, you enter into anguish. Have compassion for yourself, but be careful deep in self-pity. Try not to replay the scenario and fantasize about what you could have done differently or how the world has wronged you. And then the next card is denial, exploring the root exploring the root cause of a challenge is difficult when you're in denial. Right now there could be a blocked truth, and shifting out of denial is not easy, but be honest with yourself about irrational thoughts. Think about the negative consequences denial brings and journal about your situation. And then the last card is groundedness. And so I feel like that's exactly what you were saying about, contemplate grounding yourself today. Get out of your head and work on the stability of being grounded. The mantra for today is as above, so below, as above. This card is asking you to concentrate on being firmly rooted and still ready for growth. Yeah. Absolutely. Anything you want to say about that?
No, I think those are great cards. I think that's a great way to end our conversation. I love in the comments here, Belize 4.5 is talking about taking magnesium L-threonate. Any supplements you can take to, work with your nervous system and your mental balancing. And Reina, denial. Hello, Neptune. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to read the card on the bottom too, because I like to read the bottom of the deck because sometimes there's something we're not seeing. And the card is Taurus. I've never heard this word before, but look at that picture. The Taurus is a balanced and self-generating three-dimensional object in sacred geometry. The easiest way to describe it is that it looks like a donut. When a force pushes downward while a force simultaneously pushes upward, it doubles back down and regenerates itself. The human body can be considered a torus in that it has an internal energy flow and an external energy flow. When you are internally off balance, then it follows that your external energy is also off balance. The first thing to do is observe the energy flow around you, cleanse the air with sage or mugwort. Next, balance your own energy with deep cleansing breaths. You'll want to keep the energies on the inside and outside in balance. So this is beautiful. And this deck is Wisdom of the Sacred Oracle by Kelly Burton. And I'll put it in the notes. But yeah, I love this. So this is some medicine about how to balance, if you're struggling, how to balance your energy. And then underneath it is discipline, ancestry, and the soul journey and evolve. Ascension and breakthrough. So I'll stop there.
So hidden at the bottom of the deck is all the good cards ready to come up. Yeah, when we're ready.
Yes. Yeah. So ground, balance, think about your insides and your outside and the energy around yourself, and do whatever. Sometimes something as simple as putting crystals in your bra or burning sage or doing something like that, taking some action can help you feel better, even if you're like how am I going to afford these things or da 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 da. Yeah, yeah. It can be helpful just to get over these really, really tough times. Yeah. But Venus will be going into Taurus eventually and Jupiter in Cancer. So we'll get some,
Mm.
some,
We'll
in
we'll
some
get some
way,
relief. Hmm.
some
Yeah.
relief. Hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kay. How can people find you, your personal website?
Just my name, ktaylor.com. Find me there and still think about the Astro-Biz Conference,
Yes.
opaastrology.org, and hope to see you all there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kay. This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you everyone for coming and the questions and the comments were really, really wonderful. Okay. Take good
Okay,
care.
thanks. Bye.
Bye.